Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by Big League Chew. This is episode 324. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin, and I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
Good day, good people. How we living over there, KC? How we doing?
I'm so ready.
For the season to start up again?
Well, I was going to say just to get this offseason underway, but yeah, that's probably a step ahead of where I'm at, and that's probably where I need to be.
I texted you last week that it like already set in, that I already missed baseball. And the way it set in was, it was like, I think it was like last Wednesday when I sent it to you, because there's just nothing going on. Like on a Wednesday, You're just like, I don't know what to do with my hands, you know? So like the NFL, it's like that'll kind of get me by. I used to be a bigger NFL fan. Now I don't really care. Like I kind of bet on it every once in a while. But now it's like I just miss baseball. That quickly. Already. The Astros just didn't, like, their winning didn't satisfy my baseball hunger.
That's very accurate. Yeah, the Astros World Series win did not allow us to embark upon really any good feelings heading into this offseason. It's like, okay, we kind of saw this coming. There was a moment in time, probably a span of a couple of weeks, where like the Phillies are going to do this.
Yeah.
And then to have that rug just pulled out from underneath us.
And now you're just like, whatever.
Just feeling unsatisfied.
Yeah.
But we're here.
We are here. We are here. And it's officially off-season time. It's time to get in the weeds a little bit.
And what better way to get the offseason rolling than make some free agent predictions, shall we?
I like that.
And look, before we even get into the weeds of it, I'm just going to go ahead and preface this by saying, as I always do, if you've listened to this podcast for any length of time, you know that whether it's us, the people you see on TV, the people you read, nobody has any clue as to what's going on or what's going to happen. So if you want to stick around, look, if you're here for 100% predictions about where these people are going to go with factual information, with screenshots of text with agents and agencies, you're not going to get that here. You're really not going to get it anywhere. So if that's what you're here for, sorry, just go ahead, unplug the AirPods, back out, find something else, because you're not going to find it here.
Cut your workout short, get back to work, whatever you need to do. Focus on driving.
Yeah, put some
Otherwise,
music in.
You're going to be mad at us.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to be mad at us.
And we don't want that. So if that's you, just back out now. I'll save you the time. However, if you're looking for some uninformed, rather goofy takes with a little bit of gut feel sprinkled in there, with a little bit of, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Oh my gosh, that could really happen.
Yeah. If you're just looking for some takes from some casuals, you've come to the right place.
Bob Shower.
Bob, sorry.
Shout out Bob. Yeah.
Go turn on MLB Network.
If Bob Shower, if you thought we had changed our ways over this little week break that we had since the end of the World Series, you'll be sorely disappointed.
Yeah. Suck it, Bob.
All right. Well, I don't know if we need to take it out on Bob.
I hope he leaves another review.
We've shared our piece about Bob.
It's gonna be like Tim Bathtub. It's gonna leave another review.
So we've got
Bobby Toilet. That'd be quite an alias right there. Bobby Toilets.
Nobody's calling themselves Bobby Toilets. So we've got on deck today, we got a list of names. I won't even indicate how many because I don't want to make the promise and then we don't get
Under
through
promise, over deliver. That's the rule.
There you go. That's what we do here. That is exactly what we do here at the Trea Turner.
Yeah.
So we're gonna run through some of these names, some rather big names, and we're gonna give our takes. Gonna give our thoughts as to where we think they'll wind up. We'll like I indicated. We'll sprinkle in a little bit of. Could you imagine
reasoning.
This guy here?
Yeah.
And it'll just blow your mind. And then if it happens, we'll look like geniuses. But look, we're just here to get you through the offseason. That's what we do every offseason. We're just here to get you through the offseason. And what better way to do that than introduce maybe a little new concept that Nate and I kind of brainstormed. I think with these 1 a week episodes that we're going to be doing throughout the offseason, we're going to introduce a little draft at the end of each episode. Or I mean, maybe in the middle, who knows? We'll see. We're going to workshop it out, but we're going to do some drafts. I think today we've got MLB mascots lined up, so stay tuned for that. And then we'll sprinkle in some different topics throughout the offseason. If you guys have some ideas of things you want to see us draft, preferably baseball related. But I mean, if we get into the thick of the offseason and everyone, including us and yourself, the listener, are just in dire need of some content, even if it's not baseball related, throw some recommendations our way for some draft topics. But I think we got MLB mascots, so we're going to run through those at the end of the episode. But we're going to talk free agents. So, Nate, let's start off with your guy.
You just want to start right there.
We might as well. It's at the top of my list. I would imagine it's at the top of your list. Aaron Judge.
Here's what I will say. Earlier, we talked about this like in the middle of the year. I was confident that he was going to re-sign with the Yankees. I will preface this by saying I'm less confident now. But I still have Yankees because I'm going to stick to my take. It does come down, from what it seems like, I think it comes down to that 9th year. I think 8 years has been on the table. I think it's definitely on the table for pretty much any team interested in him. I think the 9th year is where things start to get a little bit more slimmed down. I think there's only going to be a few teams willing to do that. I think the Yankees desperately need a solid PR move. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people mad. A lot of angry fans, reports of angry players. I think you got to do something here. So they're going to bite the bullet. My prediction is 300 for 9 years. That's my prediction. So if you're any good at math, you know that
Which
is
I'm not.
33 a year, AAV.
Is there really? I mean, I've heard Mets thrown out there. I've heard.
I don't see it. I think if he goes, it's the Giants.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask. Do we really see it being anybody besides the Giants or Yankees? Of course, I just got done saying anything can happen, and nobody has any ideas as to what they're talking about when it really comes down to it. But all things considered, it seems as though that seems to be what it's coming down to.
Yeah, I think I've heard. I know the Dodgers are pretty much in everyone's conversation because it's the Dodgers. Well, like I'm a little confused with what they're thinking of doing. You know, like you got Turner. That's Justin Turner. That's now gone. Trea Turner is obviously gone and a free agent. So, do they move Bellinger to full-time first base? Does Max Muncy become full-time third base? And then do you have this like Chris Taylor, Gavin Lux thing going on up the middle? If that's the case, you're going to have to ask Mookie to play center field all day, all year, and then bring in Judge for right field. And I think they could probably alternate there. That's the only thing that I could imagine throwing a wrench into the plan. But he grew up a Giants fan. Like, he's open about that. He's from the Bay Area. I think there's so much built in with the Yankees. I think there's so much that is there for him. He's got everything set up. I think if he comes back, they make him a captain. He's despite the boos. Now, I understand all players are freaking out about the boos that came off in the postseason. I think it's just this booing that is just about the team right now. Like, fans are just not happy with the Yankees team. I don't think it's specifically directed at Judge. And every Yankee fan, the top of their wish list this Christmas is to re-sign Judge. Yeah. So, I don't put much weight into the booing thing.
No, I know I ribbed you about it and had some takes on it when it happened, but like, you can't really put too much blame on the fans. Like, the players are coming out being like, we're so disappointed in our fans. Well, yeah. I don't care if the guy went out and broke the career home run record in a single season. If you don't do anything in the postseason, it's gonna warrant a little bit of a reaction. Yeah. It's gonna warrant some frustration from the fans. And he went out there and that series, what was it? It was like 0 for 8 with 7 Ks or something.
It was rough, dude. It was rough.
Something along those lines. At least through a few games, it was that. So for the people saying, well, the Yankee fans don't appreciate him, even I can sit there and say, well, that's just not true.
Yeah.
He had an incredible season. We all know this. In contention for the MVP, set the American League home run record. I get that. But to sit there and say, well, he belongs elsewhere because the fans just don't appreciate it, that's nonsense, because anybody would be frustrated if you do have that kind of season and then you get to the postseason and then you just don't even show up. You don't even bother to show up.
Right. Everybody's been booed. I mean, like, literally every legendary Yankee has been booed. Reggie Jackson's the one that came out and said they only boo you if you're worth it, right? Like, they don't know you if they're not booing. So it's a part of the expectations. But I do think it's just like it just seems like everything's just kind of laid out for him. I think if he goes to the Giants, you're talking about a lesser hitter-friendly ballpark. You're talking about rough weather on a regular basis. You're talking about basically restarting your expectations. And I think this whole going home thing, the whole narrative with free agents going home, I feel like that makes more sense later in the year, like later in your career. Like, when you're close to retiring, where do you want to finish? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even then, I don't put that much weight into it.
Yeah, I think it's a little overrated, because you look at a guy like Kershaw, right? A Texas guy.
They keep saying, because he's from Dallas, they keep saying Rangers for the last few years, and it's
if the Dodgers is all you've ever known, being home is nice, but like, at a certain point, you have to sit there and wonder, well, has this become home for a guy like that?
Yeah.
Like, sure, it's not his birthplace or where he grew up for the first part of his life. If you spent the last 15, 20 years at a certain location with a certain club, I mean, I don't know. I just
agree.
think the coming home's a little overrated. I think it does carry a little weight, I think it's not as much as people make it out to be.
I agree. I think it's more of like the income tax for states that are, I think that's a bigger equation than going home.
I mean, if you're smart about it, yeah.
Yeah. But you look at the Giants, I don't think they're quite ready yet. You know what I mean? I think this year kind of proved that the 2021 season was a little bit of a fluke. I don't think they're ready to compete for a championship. And I think that's where Judge has to like be legitimate with his consideration and saying, like, obviously, I'm at 30, he's going to be 31 in the middle of the year. And it's like, what kind of production am I going to have at 35, 36 years old when this team finally is ready to go?
So I get the whole not ready to compete yet, but what do you take from the organization's comments saying that they're not going to be outbid? It almost seems conflicting to me. It's like, we acknowledge that like we don't have everything in place right now.
Yeah.
But we're still willing to do whatever it takes to add this rather significant piece, and then I guess fill in the holes elsewhere.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, you can't expect, obviously we're not expecting 60 again, home run wise, but like production's going to go way down as a right-handed hitter in San Francisco, especially one that just uses a short porch for so much of his production.
And even
those are routine
center.
outs. Those aren't even like doubles off the wall. Those are outs in San Francisco. With wind blowing in off the bay, like that's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? So, and like you said, left center isn't that short, you know? Like that's a big ballpark. I don't know, man. I understand the wanting to go home, but like at the same time, everything's built in with the Yankees, and you like it or not, they're at least going to give you a chance each year. Where I don't know if you can say that with the Giants. I think if he goes to the Giants, he's a sellout. And I just don't think that's him. It doesn't seem like that's the kind of guy he is.
No, I mean, I'll give it to him. I gained a lot of respect for Judge when they. I will say I do think the offer they put out there wasn't exactly a slap in the face like some of these other contracts we've seen.
It made sense before the season, right?
So like I'm not gonna come at the Yankees for that, but like I did gain respect for him for Judge, a little more respect for him, seeing that he was gonna bet on himself, and then followed through with it. And we've talked about it in that market. Like we don't need to go down the road again, but like to do what he did in that market. And to come out on the other side, expecting or being able to having the right to demand an even better contract.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think kind of going back to Yankee history, they did this with Jeter, and Jeter was this close to being out the door. Back in I don't know, it was like 07, 08 range. And he was like, all I ask is just don't make our conversation public. Sure enough, they did, and it pissed Jeter off. I'm sure Judge said something similar. Dude, just like, let's keep this behind closed doors. And sure enough, Cashman comes out in that press conference saying the offer, and I'm like, you know what? That's not cool, dude. I'd be pissed too if I was Judge. You can't do that. You can't just come out and say, well, this was our offer. He's the bad guy now because he didn't accept it.
That's the only reason they do that.
It's ridiculous. It's not cool. And he won. He bet on himself, and he won. And he deserves the check he's going to get. But I think the Yankees, I'm telling you, dude, there's going to be an absolute uproar. There's going to be a lot of angry fans if they get outbid and he walks.
I was in the I don't like doing this often, but I feel like I have to share this conversation I had in the comments recently. It was in response to the TikTok I put out of you when you were talking about they're going to burn the Bronx down if they don't bring Judge back. Mm-hmm. And somebody said, I can't even remember the username or the context of it, but something along the lines of like, well, Yankee fans will get over it. They've done it before. And I'm like, okay, so what's an example? Again, don't remember how it exactly went, but I was like, what's a recent example that you could compare this to? He said, well, they shipped off Robinson Cano and they got over that. And I'm like, you can't. I was like, did you really just put Robinson Cano and Aaron Judge in the same conversation?
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
this is the most recent thing we've seen is Jeter. Like that's and just leadership quality and like being beloved by the fans, being beloved by that organization. It's the only thing we can go back to. You know what I mean? And I think the Yankees were realistic with understanding that Jeter was declining defensively, health-wise. You know that's eventually going to come for Judge, but it's still like something you got to do. Like you have to do it. I can't see him anywhere else. I really can't.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Yankees.
And the Mets scooting right field in to help out with that bid. I know that's probably not why, but it is a little bit. It's not going to happen. He's not going to be a Met. If he goes somewhere else, it's on the other side of the country in a different division, in a different league, everything just far away from the Yankees. He's not going to go across the street.
You heard it here first. Speaking of across the street, Jacob deGrom.
You want to lead this one off? I feel
Well,
like
I tell you what, he's not going to
fun.
be a New York Met. I know that much.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot, but I know that Jacob deGrom is not going to be a New
Yeah.
York Met. You can chisel that in stone. He's out of there, and for good reason, dude. Get out of get as far away. You want to talk about being far away? Get as far away from that organization, that ballpark, that team as possible, because they have let you down far too many times for you to stick around and be the good guy. You don't owe them anything, Jacob deGrom. You don't owe them anything. You've given them plenty.
What do you got?
So I know the Braves have been floated around. Obviously, the Mets, him returning. I genuinely do not think he's going back. The Rangers, I know, were thrown out there, which I tell you what, man, the Rangers are getting me a little fired up. I like it. If they follow through, I like what they're cooking up. I really do. And I'll admit that Nolan doc that I watched last night, that Nolan Ryan doc, I was like, you know what? Give me some Rangers. Give me some. Maybe the Rangers in 2023 are going to be my Phillies from 2022. Maybe spring training rolls around. I'm going to be sending you that text. That's, you know what, that we might need to do a whole episode just on the text that I sent you in spring training. Whichever team, that's going to be the team that I'm going to commit to.
All right.
So
I like that.
The jury's still out. We got to see if what the Rangers do.
It takes the offseason to make that decision, though. We got to see how these land.
But like I said, if they follow through, it very well could be the Rangers. I don't feel as strongly about any team necessarily as strongly as I feel about the fact that I don't think he'll be back. So take that as you will. I don't have a I don't have a particular landing spot. I just know it's not going to be New York.
Yeah.
Or the Mets, I should say.
I said Rangers. I think he came out and apparently gave that list of it was Rangers and Astros, and I didn't even know Astros were interested, but I think he said he wanted to go there. But I chose Rangers. He's 34, so I said 4 years for 150. And I feel like, the 4 years gets him to the point where it's a really high AAV. I think the Rangers do have to overpay. If you're doing the math, that's a 37 AAV. But I think the Rangers have to overpay. I think they're starting to do a little something. They gave a lot of money to Seager. They gave a lot of money to Semien, and they said we're not done. And I'm assuming they were talking about this offseason. So I have
particularly in the pitching department, I would imagine.
Yeah, and they need to add there. So, and I mean, like, offensively, they look like they're going to be okay. You know what I mean? Like, they have some pieces that came onto the scene. Heim behind the dish, Lowe at first, Young at third. We already talked about the guys up the middle. Adolis Garcia, like, they have bats. So I think pitching is gonna help them. So yeah, I said Rangers, 4 years, 150.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna stick my neck out for the Rangers, and I'm gonna ask them to follow through.
Yeah, I think that's a must.
I got the Rangers.
I like it.
What better way? What better splash to make?
Yeah. Come on the scene,
with that
bro.
rotation than lining up deGrom.
And I think with Jack Leiter coming up anytime, kind of getting groomed and getting that baton passed to him from some leadership guys. Yeah. Give me deGrom to the Rangers.
Trea Turner. Do we want to tap it? Do we want to open up the floodgates to the shortstop market?
Yeah, might as well just run through the shortstops. This one I bounced back and forth a little bit on, but I said Phillies.
Okay.
I said Phillies. specifically 8 years. He's 29. 8 years, $200 million. And the reason I did that is because it keeps his AAV below Bryce. I think Bryce is at like a 27 AAV. That puts Trea at 25 with that deal. I like Trea Turner with the Phils.
So the big thing with Trea Turner, going back to the conversation we already talked about, is getting closer to home. And I feel like he's been a little more outspoken. And he put out that, which I didn't even get to watch it.
Where's he from? I don't even know where he's from.
I want to say, I mean, I know he went to NC State.
Is it from Florida or something? I think I saw.
Yeah, he is from Florida. Yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely East Coast. And from what I've heard, the Dodgers fit just wasn't like his favorite necessarily, just from what I've read. But he put out that video, which I thought was kind of odd. Did you see that by chance?
No.
The like little sizzle reel?
No.
Where apparently it kind of, I don't want to say like leaked teams necessarily, but it gave a little insight, I guess, as to kind of what he's thinking about, maybe where he's thinking. But I would venture to say it's going to be back east.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the teams that are in need of a shortstop, combined with the fact that he's looking to get closer to home,
Yeah.
I feel like it's safe to say that you can dwindle the list down for him. I'm leaning Phillies, but I could also see, and hear me out on this. I could see the Baltimore Orioles taking a stab at Trea Turner, because if you're the Baltimore Orioles, from what you've said and what I hope ends up being true, is that now that you've seen what your team's capable of doing, now it's time to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's time that we can put a halt to the rebuild conversation. I think you're in a place where you can.
I don't think they're there yet.
I'm not saying you're there, but like if you're the Orioles, this could be as close as you're gonna get. And with the names that are on the board right now, even if you're a year early, I think it's important that you go out and snag one of these guys. And you need a shortstop.
So,
and if you're the Orioles, you don't have to overpay for a guy like Correa. I know it seems like every shortstop at some point has been linked to the Orioles, but you're going to spend far more on a guy like
I agree.
Correa.
I agree there. Yeah. Trea's going to be cheaper.
Tre's going to be a little cheaper.
Yeah.
You can make the whole closer to home pitch. I mean, the guy played in Washington and he seemed perfectly fine there.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. So Jorge Mateo and Gunnar Henderson are just figured out at second base for you, or does Gunnar slide to third?
We really did. We really hyped up Jorge this year for good reason. I mean, that guy
had a heck of a year, dude.
But he's not Trea Turner. We know this.
He's not Trea Turner. But he is a game changer athletically.
Yeah. I feel like you slide Gunnar to third.
Okay. And then Jorge to Mateo to second, and then you got Trea Turner at short. I mean, that's
a
sick,
heck of an
dude.
infield, man.
Yeah, that's sick. That's not terrible. It'd be wild. I'd be super down.
Give me Trea to the O's, man.
All right.
I think when it's all said and done, though, I do think it's between the Phillies and O's for me, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's the Phillies again. It's more of like a ready to go situation. I do think that there's an obvious hole there. I don't think the Trey with Bryce connection has to be stronger than we think there. I think I think Bryce has got to do some bidding there. And I think he doesn't have to go be the guy. It's obvious that he doesn't really like the spotlight. You know what I mean? He likes to be a little bit more low key. He's not flashy. It just makes sense in Philly because those other guys can be flashy. Bryce can be flashy. Schwarber can be flashy. Castellanos, they can all be kind of loud. And they do have some flexibility money-wise. There's still some guys that are under protection for a little bit. They are going to have to pay Rhys Hoskins if they want to keep him around. But I'm curious to see if they let Rhys go after the RBers, and then you see like Real Muto slide to first. Real Muto's getting to that mid-30s range. Does he eventually slide to first? And then you get, a new catcher involved. So there's a lot of stuff in the air. But I think the most underrated thing the Phillies did was that Marsh trade, because Brandon Marsh is locked down for years.
Yeah.
A lot of team control there. So, yeah, I think it makes sense for them to be a buyer. And I do think that just with their flexibility, I don't think they can afford Correa. So that's why I think, Trea Turner makes the most sense.
Speaking of which, Carlos Correa.
Fat deal to the Dodgers.
Oh, you think it's going to happen?
$350, 10 years. That's what I said. Giving him the highest contract of any shortstop and higher AAV than any other
Is
shortstop.
anything sacred in baseball anymore? Like, Correa to the Dodgers makes 0 sense from an optic standpoint, but I know that people in baseball don't care about optics. I get that. I'm sure some do, but some don't. Dodgers don't, I feel like, are one of those teams don't really care. Like 2017, so what?
Yeah.
Come on over. You're our guy now.
Yeah.
And I get it. That might be something silly to hold up or to prevent a deal like that happening where you can add one of the best shortstops in the game. But
what
just doesn't make sense to me.
What confused me about this whole series of events for the last few years was you let Seager go. You traded for Trey. He played second for you, expecting for him to fill in short for like the foreseeable future. And then they didn't extend him for what it sounds like Trey doesn't want to be there.
Sounds like a couple guys don't want to be in LA.
But I think, and I think the Dodgers fan base is a lot like the Yankees, right? It's like they're fed up, man. Like they're not happy. Everyone keeps telling them that the 2021 championship wasn't legitimate. So it's like, well, let's go get the guy then. I think they're going to miss out on Judge because they're in on that. And so I think they go, they need a shortstop. They're going to get one of these names. And I think they're willing to pay. So
yeah, I mean,
$35 million a year going to Correa.
I mean, I feel like of the shortstops, I would venture to say it's safest to say that Trey is going to be gone. Like with the other guys, you could see them maybe returning, staying put, but Trey as good as gone.
Yeah, I agree. I think you gotta go after the other names. Dansby just doesn't seem like an LA fit for me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you put it like that,
especially with like the Braves like pass, you know what I'm saying? It's just like there's obviously been some clash there. There's not a whole lot with Correa. I know, I get it. Like, I think it is that scenario where if like the Yankees or the Dodgers get Correa, there's gonna be this weird like adjustment. You know what I'm saying? We hated this guy. He cheated us.
Who do you think of those two hates Correa more? I would genuinely be curious.
I genuinely feel like it's the Yankee fans.
You think so?
I genuinely, yeah. How mad can you be if you're in LA? You know what I mean? Like, how mad are you about stuff? Eventually, you just kind of let stuff.
Well, I mean, we're not talking like a division series. You got to take like you get a World Series.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't know, but all that to say, when you put it like that, based on who's out there, the available options, I guess Correa would make the most sense because I just simply don't see a guy like Xander playing in LA. I don't see. I
Even
mean,
with the Mookie connection, right?
Yeah, I could more. Yeah, but Mookie is got LA written all over him. Like he belongs out there.
Yeah.
Dansby more so than Xander, I could see playing in LA.
Yeah,
He's got a little bit of flash, bit of flash. But yeah,
pretty boy action going on.
If Trea is gone, then I guess Correa is your guy. Because if you're the Dodgers, you're not just going to find some rinky-dink guy to plug a hole. Like you're going to have to get one of the big names. And I guess Correa, despite 2017 and the aftermath, I guess that's the only fit that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Xander Bogaerts.
We have him returning to the Red Sox.
Yeah, let's save our breath here.
Have him returning to the Red Sox. I think he's going to test the market for a little bit, but I think he's considerably cheaper than anyone else on that shortstop list. I don't think he's going to get the amount of offers that he's expecting. And I think they're going to be in kind of weird one-off places. You know, I mean, like the Twins enter the chat for something. He's going to be like, nah, I think I'm going to stay. And I think the Red Sox, you texted me before that they offered last spring training 90 for 4 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I think he's 30, 31 in season.
Yeah.
I think of the shortstops to play defensively, I don't know why. Fenway has a smaller infield. Can we address that? Like, can we just, when you look at it, they have a short infield. They're not deep, right? You can't be that deep with left field being so shallow. It's a small infield.
I mean, it's a small, just everything.
Yeah, so it's going to be easier for him to play there. So I said Red Sox, but I bumped it up. Give him the respect. I gave him 5 years for 140.
All right.
Trying to do the math. 28 AAV.
Yeah, I think Boris is just out there feeding lines like he does with every guy. And if you're an agent, that's what you do. You build up the hype, you build up the conversation, you present other options, whether they're legitimate or not, as a threat to your current, or I should say, your former team, because I guess technically you're a free agent. So for Boris to be feeding this information out there, you're doing.
It's unrealistic, right?
What?
Him getting a ton of money elsewhere. Like I know the Sox lowballed him with that offer, but like I don't think he's getting as much as Boris is probably whispering in his ear.
I think it's widely agreed that the team that would overpay him would be the Phillies, and Dave Dombrowski going to get his guy.
It's a good point.
They're going to need to add a shortstop, but I just think it's all Boris playing puppeteer. I really don't think he's going to be anywhere besides Boston.
Let me ask you this. Would we still be having this conversation if Trevor Story had a Trevor Story type year?
No, because I think yes, because I think you can just look at the data, look at the decline in arm strength and velocity, and just recognize
That's
that
what I'm saying.
He's not going to be your long-term answer.
Yeah.
Xander still, he's now 30. He's going to be kind of on the other side of the hill, if you will, but he still has plenty of juice. Like there's plenty of juice left there. He can be your guy for a long-term, whatever deal you want to throw out there. He can fill that role for you. You may have to slide him around at some point down the tail stretch there, but at the end of the day, like he can be your answer. You don't need to go elsewhere. He can fill that role because he has filled that role for you.
Yeah. I like it. Makes sense.
There's just no there. If you're Boston, there is no answer besides Xander as your shortstop come opening day in 2023.
Yeah.
There really isn't. And if there is, if 2023 comes, if opening day comes and goes, and he's not your starting shortstop, something went drastically wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because unlike these other teams, where if you're the Dodgers, you can't go into opening day with some rinky-dink shortstop. You have to have a top tier guy. The Red Sox, based on the last couple years, I don't have full confidence that if they don't get Xander, that they're going to be able to fill that void. I don't have that confidence right now. The
Is
Red
Kike
Sox
still there?
Yeah, they extended him, but
so no way Trevor Story slides to short and Kike comes back full time.
I really don't think so.
No, okay.
I really don't think so. The Red Sox would fill the void with some rinky-dink shortstop for the time being, and keep Trevor at second just to validate themselves and to validate that move, even if it costs the team.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Yeah. Any youth that can step up and become next year's Jeremy
Not
Pena?
this year, not this coming year. No, down the road you've got some stuff in the works. You got some guys down on the farm, but not
like
this year.
3 years away, kind of thing.
Yeah, you have to develop that, and you can't rush that, or else you might as well just throw the pick down the drain. But I don't know. There's just It's as simple as that. Like I don't know why it's gotten to this point, but it has. But there's an easy fix.
Yeah,
there's an easy solution to this problem if you're the Red Sox. But it's just a matter of whether or not they're willing to take that step. Justin Verlander. Actually, no, sorry. We got Dansby Swanson.
Go to Dansby.
We got Dansby Swanson.
I think I'm gonna make a little splash here, a little bold prediction here.
Nate loves his bold predictions.
Give me the St. Louis Cardinals.
I like it. That was actually
not bad, right?
I think it was actually going to be my pick, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I gave him 160 for 6 years.
I feel like this could be another option for the Orioles, who are looking to make a splash but not spend Correa money.
Good point.
I think that could be an alternative to somebody like Trea. It really just depends on how big of a splash they want to make. If they want to make a splash at all, if they're going to follow through.
Yeah.
The optimist in me thinks they will, hopes they will, but it's just based on how much money you're willing to spend and how much money you're willing to divvy up around the diamond.
I like it. I think we can all agree that the Braves are off the table.
No, not necessarily. I don't think
he's going to take a short-term deal. I think the Braves are willing to go maybe 3 years.
And this is what I said. I said, at what point you go down that lineup, you go down your starting lineup, you go down the rotation, you look at the bullpen. The buck has to stop with somebody. Like you're not going to get 1 through 9 your entire rotation and supplement it with a fully staffed bullpen. Everybody agreeing to these team friendly deals. Like somebody is going to be like, look, I love the team culture here and everything, but it's not for me when it comes time to put pen to paper.
I think to go off of what you're saying, I don't think the Braves are struggling AAV. I think they're probably meeting the number he's wanting. I think it's the length. I don't think they want to give him that long.
Yeah. And look, I didn't say all that to say that I think Dansby is the guy that's like anti-team culture. I'm not saying that. But as time goes on and it comes time for these guys to sign their deals, you're going to figure out who it is.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of it. Like, it's not going to be a mystery when you find out that a guy decides, well, I don't want to play here anymore. And it comes down to the fact that they're just not going to want to sign this uber team-friendly deal that the Braves are putting forth. So far, they've got quite the track record with that. But like I said, you're not – and Braves fans, I feel like, are delusional when it comes to that. They go, no, like, we've got it all. Like, we're set. It's like, no, that just doesn't – that doesn't happen. You're not going to have 25, 30 guys all being like, you know what? I'm going to take a major pay cut because I'm all about the team culture. That's just not reality. And it's foolish to think that way. And again, not saying it's Dansby, but it could be Dansby. You don't know that.
Yeah.
We won't know until we figure out where he's going to be opening day.
Yeah. So you're agreeing with me on the Cardinals? You like that?
I like that. Yeah. I like that pick.
How about and now that we're done with the shortstops, because there is a little bit of a sleeper conversation about the Mariners. You know, like them potentially sliding J.P. Crawford over to second.
Yeah.
Adam Frazier's a free agent. I know J.P. Crawford's that guy, but it's like at some point I think the Mariners are going to go get a name and really establish themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you could be looking at the Mariners the same way you look at the Red Sox. Like you have two shortstops, but one fits your needs better as a shortstop, and one is capable and they have to be willing. That's the key. Is J.P. Crawford willing to make that move?
Yeah, and I think that's what's tough is that like J.P. Crawford has done what they've asked over and over again. He's played really good baseball. He's a really good shortstop defensively. But it's like at some point you need to add a little bit of protection and pop. You are losing Mitch Haniger, so it's like who's going to provide a little bit more juice into that lineup? I think that's a sleeper team. I think the Mariners are a sleeper team that could sneak in and snag one of these shortstops.
I would agree. I really don't know who that would be though. Like I feel like with some of these other guys, some of these other teams, it's a little more clear. Like we said with the Dodgers. You know
and
what
that's
you have to do.
Yeah, and I look at like Xander, and I'm like, no, because what's the point? I think J.P. Crawford's better defensively than Xander, so it's like I don't see them sliding. Xander is Xander even open to playing second base?
He'd probably tell you yes, and it's maybe he's come out and said one way or another, but I think Xander is the type of guy. He won't say it necessarily to your face, but Xander walks into a room, you go, that's this team's shortstop.
And it's also weird for the Mariners to go spend a ton of money on a second baseman. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't think Xander makes sense there. I don't think they'll spend enough to get Carlos Correa. I think Trea Turner and Dansby Swanson could be a little bit of a sleeper pick with the Mariners. That's all I'm going to say on
that. Justin Verlander. Get into some arms here.
Ready for my splash again?
Who you got?
Texas Rangers doubling up.
Getting Verlander and deGrom. Where's this money coming from?
Wackadoo. They do have some, dude. They do have some, but they're going to overspend to try and get the hype going a little bit. I said 2 years, $50 million.
So you're saying, because if you're the Dodgers, you have to look at last offseason and say that's when they got the hype going. So you're basically saying, and we all know that the year didn't go the way they had hoped, but you're saying that they're going to use this offseason to keep that momentum, to kind of keep that ball rolling. The Rangers? Yeah. The Rangers, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think look, we said they need pitching. And, you know, I'm looking at the free agent pitching list, and there are definitely some names that you could go there and say that the Rangers are going to do that. But I think they have a lot of youth, and I don't think they're wanting to commit very long to one of these guys. Verlander's the oldest. It's a flash in the pan jersey sale type boy. You know what I mean? Like you're going to get a couple years of hype. He's still pretty good.
He's still pretty good.
He already lives in Texas.
He's all right.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's my pick. 2 years, $50 million.
Yeah, I think the Rangers, whether it's him or deGrom, you're doubling down and saying they're getting both. I think they're going to get. I think
I'm going to be right on one of them.
They're going to get one of them. So I'm going to go Rangers or he stays put.
I think he wants a second year, right? I think Astros offered him the qualifying offer, and he said no. Is that right?
No, let me check. I believe they offered him. Let me see here, because I don't want to misspeak here. He declined his option, 25 mil. So he's basically betting that he's gonna pull in more than 25 mil, which
I think it's that second. I think it's another year. I think that's what he. I think that's yeah. I wrote down 2 years with like a third year player option in mind. I think that's what he's gonna get. I don't really know AAV that much, but
I think that's him. I think it's like it's an optics thing. I think he wants the higher AAV because he knows he's worth more than $25 million, especially after this year.
Maybe bump that up to like 60 mil. 2 years, 60 mil. 30 AAV is a lot for a 40-year-old.
Yeah, but like we see every now and then, we're not talking an average 40-year-old here.
Yeah. I don't know. Any other spots? I mean, there's definitely some Yankees chatter. Dodgers again are always in that mix, but like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say one of the Texas clubs.
Side note, one of these teams needs to go sign what's his face, the GM that just got fired for the Astros. What are we doing? You win a World Series and then you get a 1-year offer? I would have walked too.
Yeah. James Click said, deuces, I'm out.
Yeah. Somebody needs to go hire him now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Carlos Rodon.
A little wacky here. I said Mets. They're gonna lose out on these names, and they're gonna have to fill that rotation with somebody. So I said 140 for 6 years. Carlos Rodon is 29.
You know where I could see Carlos Rodon going? I could see Carlos Rodon going to the O's.
I could see that too.
Dude, I just send everybody to the O's, man. I need everybody in Baltimore.
They need a little rotation help. I like that too. That's good. Go be the guy. Him and Means are so similar though. Him and John Means are really similar to be a 1-2 punch at the top of that rotation. I like it. That's cool. That's fun.
I'm a little biased, but because I got a little bit of Baltimore bias here, just ever so slightly. But yeah, I could see him in Baltimore.
I like it. I'm cool with it.
Wilson Contreras.
No breaking news here. I think I'm kind of joining the majority. I'm going to say Astros. And he's 30. So I gave him 5 years, 140. And that would bring it to a 28 AAV. And it would be
that is quite
the biggest catching contract.
I was going to say, that's quite the contract, my friend.
Yeah. I think JT was the latest big contract, and I think he got like 115. So I think Wilson Contreras gets a bump there. But it makes sense, right? It just makes sense.
Hey, what about
the Orioles?
Hey, yo, just consider this. What about the Orioles? No, there was a pretty well-known catcher that recently retired within the division. Pretty strong Hall of Fame candidate.
Really?
Why not? I'm not saying it happened. I'm just saying this is the part of the year. This is the part of the offseason where you say, why not?
That would be such just a dagger to Cubs fans. That would be such a dagger.
I mean, they've been dealt their fair share of daggers over the last couple of years, seeing their guys depart elsewhere. But I understand this would be different. I do, but a dagger nonetheless.
Wow.
I do think you're right. I think I think the Astros make sense on paper, but
Mhm.
why
Yeah.
not? You can't ask yourself why. You have to ask yourself why not when it comes time to the offseason.
I guess.
Now they're going to need somebody.
Yeah. It's a good point.
You can't pitch to a tarp with 9 squares on it. You got to pitch to somebody.
That does soften the blow of Yachty leaving.
I feel like that relationship would be very endearing. I feel like he would fall in love with Cardinals fans. I get the whole Chicago thing. I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Cardinals fans would come to love him too.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like that. Either that or they go budget. And they go find themselves
Because
someone cheaper.
Hold on. I don't know if this necessarily matters, but I'm actually curious. Let's see. Doing a little research here. Okay, never mind. I was looking at the birthplace. Yeah, so that's my why not pick.
I like it.
That's my why not pick. Brandon Nimmo.
Hear me out on this. I chose Mariners.
I like it.
And I know that there's been a lot of people just saying that, Julio is going to slide to center. But let's be real. The Mariners have had a absolute phenom play center field before, and they watched injuries happen to Ken. So don't want to pull another Griffey. I think with Mitch Haniger leaving, Julio Rodriguez is going to stay in right field. Kyle Lewis, from what it sounds like, his knees are just absolutely shot. I don't see him ever playing full-time center field. I like Brandon Nimmo there. 6 years, a Hundy spot, $100 million.
Could we see?
I bounced around quite a bit with his name.
It would require a little bit of shuffling around, but could we see Brandon Nimmo in the pinstripes?
I don't think so. I think the stopgap for the Yankees is Bader, hometown kid. I think he stays there. I think the approach I really like in the lineup. That makes a lot of sense. I think they're going to go after.
Who are you putting in left? That's what I'm saying. It require a little bit of shuffling around.
I think they're going to go pretty hard at Benintendi. I think they want to bring him back.
Fair enough.
I don't even have a plan B for that, but I think they're going to go pretty hard. I think Nimmo's going to get center field money. I don't think they have the Yankees aren't going to have extra to spend, really.
That's fair.
So Bader's going to play stopgap until Jason Dominguez is ready to go. And I'm sure the Yankees will bring back Hicks and some other, fourth outfield options to
yes,
rotate
because
in.
that's a wise move.
I wish
why wouldn't you bring back Hicks? Am I right?
I'd love for him to just go full-time golf. Just go golf full-time, bro.
Love that.
This is over.
Jose Abreu.
Did you give me a pick there? Did you say Yanks?
No, that was more of like a just throwing it out there. It wasn't
maybe.
like a pick. I don't know. I mean, how hard are the Mets going after him? Or have they just kind of
I don't know.
Fate?
It kind of seems like to me that Marte is just going to slide into center field full time. Could be wrong.
I don't even know if I have a pick for Nimmo, honestly. Just trying to think of who would need a Brandon Nimmo. I might have to sit on that one.
Yeah.
Might have to sit on that one. Jose Abreu.
I didn't love this pick. Not super confident. I said Astros. So that little right-handed bop in there. Somebody that can kind of split between Jordan and Kyle Tucker. Some right-handed juice. A little protection in there. I've
seen the Padres thrown out because I know Abreu and Rizzo are both being linked.
Yeah. I like that pick. That makes more sense.
Whether officially or not, they're being linked to the Padres.
Yeah. Yeah. I gave it this small deal. He's 35, so I said 2 years, 26 for the Astros. But I could see that slide over to the Padres.
Yeah, I could see like a 230.
Yeah. 2 for 30. It's not bad.
230
Former MVP.
with Padres, yeah. Still got the pop. Chris Bassett.
I said Red Sox.
Come on, guy.
Red Sox.
I'm going to start going first on some of these.
Did I steal it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy, there's certain guys, and if you're listening, you can probably think of some guys with your favorite team too. But there just seems to be certain names out there where when you attach them to your team, you're like, that just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Chris Bassett is a guy that just makes sense with the Red Sox. And I can't put my finger on what it is, but it just makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. He's 33, so I said 3 years, 50. Pretty decent deal. I know the Sox don't have a ton of room, right? It's 16 AAV.
Well, they got some names that they're going to need to be keeping around, so they need to figure it out.
I didn't realize, I was looking up, they're still paying Manny and Pedroia. I didn't realize they had deferred stuff going. They have like $4 million a year going out to them. It's pretty wild there. I know it's not. It's only $4 million, but it's just kind of weird. You know, it's been a hot minute since either of those guys have been in a uniform for them.
It's Manny being Manny. Rizzo. I feel like we kind of already talked about this. I got him. I mean, you would be able to speak to this better, but are the Yankees going hard after that?
Yeah,
because I could see him in San Diego. Why wouldn't you go to San Diego? Honestly,
I know. I like that too. But the Yankees are gonna go after him pretty hard. They saw such an uptick defensively with him over there. The reason being is because I do think Glaber is gonna get shopped. I think Glaber is gonna get moved, which means DJ is gonna be the full-time second base. I think Josh Donaldson is an absolute mess, so you're probably gonna see DJ over at third quite a bit as well.
You just heard him
Rizzo
talking
back.
about that. You just heard the Yankees saying that, I think Donaldson is more capable defensively than what we saw this year. It's like, at what point do you just kind of wait?
He was great defensively.
In the towel?
Offensively, it was awful. He just looks overmatched on regular.
Or was it
average
offensively?
stuff.
Is that what they said?
Defensively, it was great. Offensively, bad. I think it's going to be something similar, dude. It's just like he's a stubborn dude that's not willing to fix his mechanics, and it's like, bro, you're not catching up to anything.
And then just runs his mouth. But
yeah, so they're saying that because they have 20-something going to him. So
sure.
It's like you kind of have to do
again,
it.
Another example of not wanting to fall on your sword. You're just gonna stick to your guns and make it seem like it worked.
They would have to admit the fact that the only reason they brought him in was because of IKF. IKF has been a huge letdown, and that's why, again, they've doubled down on both names, saying we see both of these guys in the starting lineup next year. It's BS. It's not going to last all year. If they want to make a postseason run, neither of those guys are going to be in the lineup. But I do think Rizzo returns. I said 3 years, 45.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I could see him in San Diego. Like, San Diego's going to need to fill that void, but I do feel like this is one of those scenarios where
he's a leader in that clubhouse, man. He's definitely a leader.
They're going to go get their guy, especially if Judge falls through. Like, you're gonna have to lock
those
down
two are boys
guy.
too. By the way, they are
Really?
boys. They're real close.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get a guy.
Yeah. I don't know. They might miss out on everybody and just ruin my entire
winter.
vacation, off season joy.
Just rob you of all good things.
Yeah.
Lastly, here I got on the list because we got to get to our draft. Nathan Eovaldi.
You want it?
So, admittedly, there was a point down the stretch of this season that we're just coming off of where I admitted I was like, I would hate to see it happen, but I'm at the point where I'm willing to part ways with Eovaldi and JD Martinez.
Mm-hmm.
Still love JD. I hope they can find a way to make it work and personnel wise make whatever moves necessary to keep him around. But the more I sit on it, I'm like, you got to bring Eovaldi back. You can't let him go. Like that guy when he's on. I mean, he by default, like by virtue, he is your number one. But like when he's on, he can give you ace stuff.
He's great. He's really good when he's on.
And I understand the injury history and all that, and just time missed. And like the debacle, I think it was this past season with, well, he's going to be back on X date. And then, well, that's not reality. And it was far longer than we anticipated. But you just got to find a way to bring that guy back.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also had Red Sox 4 years, $60 million. It's a decent chunk of change for being 32. Probably just call quits at the end of that. You know?
Yeah, I think if you're Eovaldi, you can't be excessively greedy out on the market.
Mm-hmm.
You have to recognize like what you're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
Health wise, age wise, and just be like, you know what? If the Sox are gonna meet this threshold, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
And not,
doesn't make
and
sense
not
to
push your
go.
luck.
It doesn't make sense to go elsewhere and kind of reset your expectations. You know what I mean? I think it's you're beloved there, probably willing to give you an extra year that most teams won't.
Yeah.
I say Sox.
That about does it for me on the free agent predictions. Let's get into the draft, shall we? Before we do that, Nate, I think you know.
Founded by former left-handed pitcher Rob Nelson, Big League Chew started from humble beginnings in the Portland Mavericks bullpen in 1977. For more than 40 years, the iconic pouch is packed with shredded, flavorful bubblegum has become the number one shredded gum of athletes everywhere.
Big League Chew has sold.
Big League Chew has sold more than 900 million pouches and is designated. I messed all this up.
And is designated as
this
a Hall
once
of
a
Fame
week
bubble
stuff
gum.
is hard, man.
Grab some gum and head to Big League Chew's social media channels at Big League Chew on Twitter and at Big League Gum on Instagram to show off your Big League bubbles. You can find a list of retailers or purchase any of their products directly from their website at bigleaguechew.com. BLC.
I think we switch it up. I think you just take it from here on out. Give me the other stuff.
We might need to check in with them, get an updated ad read because there's no way we're still sitting at 900 mil.
Not after this kind of advertising.
Not at all.
1.1
all right.
at least. Maybe 1.2 because of us.
Without a doubt. Draft time. Mascots.
MLB mascots. How do we choose who goes first?
So I was going to ask you, do we just want to make this an alternating thing or do we want to have some sort of coin flip each week?
I'd love
really raise the stakes here.
I'd like some type of competition. A little bit more skills based. Than a coin flip.
Well, we didn't exactly talk this out. What do you have in mind?
Prepare for this. I don't know. Some type of trivia question. Some type of I don't know.
Well,
a trivia question for now.
A trivia question that neither of us are going to be able to look at the answer for until.
Yeah, I don't know how to. I don't know how the logistics are going to work, but you know,
I don't have a coin nearby.
App. Get the coin flip app.
All right, let's just go to.
Just say, "Hey Siri, flip me a coin."
Oh yeah, true. All right, so before I can't remember if it does it like right away or it gives me a prompt, but what do you want to call? What do you want to take?
Give me tails.
Hey Siri, flip a coin.
Dang.
It says right there.
All you, guy.
It's heads.
First overall.
MLB Mascots, first overall. I feel like this is maybe the easiest pick in
one and
any
two
draft
picks, yeah.
history.
Yeah.
I'm taking blooper number 1.
All right.
An
I'll go
absolute
Philly.
savage, on the Twitter machine.
Yeah. Philly
let you
Fanatic just has the antics. You know what I'm saying? So he's got that longevity. We'll take him back to Tommy Lasorda days. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys been doing it for a hot minute. That's my number 1 pick. Philly the Fanatic.
Number 2, I'm taking Wally the Green Monster.
I feel like that's just so high. It's just so high.
It's not, though. Like, I'm going to give Wally the respect he deserves.
I guess.
I feel like that's actually a pretty easy number 2 for me. I mean, give me credit. I didn't put him at 1.
Yeah, that's fair. That would have been ridiculous for sure.
Yeah,
Putting him at 1.
Wally at 1 would have been a little outrageous. I agree.
Yeah, give me the Oriole bird.
Now that you want to talk a little high, the
That's a
Oriole
little
bird at
high.
2.
It's a little high, but I think I have depth here that will keep me in the green.
All right, number 3. Yeah, you stole Oriole bird from me, man. I really wanted the Oriole bird. I wanted that to be like a late round sleeper pick. That's good steal.
Yeah.
Number 3, I'm just gonna go Mr. Met, and this is completely independent of the team because, as we all know, the New York Mets are the most fraudulent organization in baseball.
It's a quality pick. It's a recognizable quality pick.
There's nothing. I'm not gonna apply that same slander towards Mr. Met. Mr. Met's just a mascot. He has no influence on the outcome of the game, as the players and management and front office do. He's just a mascot. He's just there doing his thing. So I'm taking Mr. Met number 3.
All right, that's fair. Give me old Bernie Brewer.
You're just over
Number
here
3.
somehow reading my list because that was yet again going to be one of my late round.
Bernie
sleeper
Brewer.
picks.
Look, there's no other mascot known for like a specific thing every time. My man has the slide, and that's like an alternate. Like, I don't think Bernie Brewer is the same without the slide. This is, in fact, because of what he's capable of doing going down that slide.
That's
and
absolutely valid.
we can't just sit here and talk about how that isn't dangerous. Didn't one of like the reporters, like one of the Brewers reporters, go down and like break his arm,
broke his wrist or something? Yeah,
super athletic. Bernie
Brewer's out there putting his life on the line
over and over again
for these celebrations. So I mean, put some respect on Bernie Brewer's name. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Was that number?
That was 3 for me. You're
3
going
for you?
4.
Number 4. I'm taking Mr. Redlegs.
Is it just because of the mustache?
It's just
I feel
because
like
of the
him and
mustache.
Mr. Met are cousins.
It's
You know what I
just
mean?
because of the mustache.
Oh yeah, my cousin over in Cincy.
I'm a sucker for the
Got a
baseball heads, man. It's just a
Dirty
classic.
stash.
It's a classic mustache. It's a classic look, classic mascot look.
All right. This is fairly underrated. I think it's going to either make or break my list. It's going to make or break it. Number 4, the Nationals presidents, not
Wow.
Screech, not the bird.
Wow.
The presidents.
I don't even know if Screech is still kicking, still flying.
Doesn't matter. He's out. Give me the presidents. That's just electric. Watching them race around the ballpark every day. Give me presidents.
The people of Milwaukee might have some beef, if you will, with that. Multiple mascots racing around the field. They may have some beef with that.
It's DC, bro. They have first dibs on presidents.
Oh, I'm not saying. I'm talking the sausages.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't do it for me. Where is it?
That's bold, man.
It's Lincoln, Washington, and Teddy, right?
Teddy
Roosevelt.
And, there's one more.
There's 4?
Yeah, it's George. Oh, George Jefferson. You got George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Lincoln. That's the 4.
I mean, look, that I how do you feel? I feel like that's going to get a lot of people on my side with that. I feel really good about that pick.
That's a very controversial pick. You're going to get some hate, but I think you're also going to endear some people.
Yeah.
5 for me.
I feel good. Whichever way you go here, I feel good going the other way.
I'm going to have to go. All right, do you think we're down to the same final 2 here?
Yeah, I think so.
This is really tough. That was your make or break pick. This is my make or break pick. But you're kind of picking from the scraps here, for being honest.
Yeah,
I hate to throw.
It's a big drop off.
I hate to throw that shade, but I'm gonna go for my 5th and final pick. Give me Mariner Moose.
We're good.
Give me Mariner. I mean, it's a freaking moose. I mean, come
solid.
on.
It's solid.
There's some teams that try too hard with their mascots. They try to get too creative. If you're Seattle, go with the freaking moose, man. It's a win. That's an easy pick. A win's a win. That's a fantastic pick for a mascot. It's simple.
I won. I know I won. I can't wait for this to get posted because I know I won.
Who's your 5th?
5th round pick. Give me the Friar.
Not even.
Oh, yeah.
Not even. That's your 5th pick?
Oh, yeah. Give me the Friar.
Not
Friar
even,
Faithful.
dude.
I'm going to have all Friar Faithful on my
dude.
side. It's going to be perfect.
Dude looks like he has a 5 o'clock shadow as a mascot.
My man, you do not throw shade.
Not even. Looks like Kevin from The Office.
Legendary character right there.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree, but give me something original, man. Don't be stealing from The Office here.
I think the Friar is going to get me this dub.
No. There's too much Padre hate out there for you to.
Do you have an honorable mention?
I was gonna go Stomper with the A's. I mean,
he was on my list.
I got a soft spot for elephants, man. I mean, it's a freaking elephant.
Yeah. The only reason I didn't go that is because they could be moving out of Oakland any day now. So
yeah, well, maybe we should have given Stomper a shine while he still has a chance.
Negative. I think there's a little bias here. My honorable mention was Dinger with the Rockies.
That's a solid pick.
I think that's solid. I think people have been asking about why it's a dinosaur. For those who don't know, they found dinosaur bones when they were, digging up the lot to create the stadium, to build the stadium. They found dinosaur bones. So I think that's kind of cool. And I have had pictures with him. And he did attempt to steal my Dippin' Dots. But it's neither here nor there. That was my honorable mention.
Would you not do the same if you were a mascot? I mean, Dinger's for the people.
Yeah, it is fair.
All right. First draft in the books. I'll be curious to see who pulls this one out.
I feel good. We're
You
gonna put a
should
poll
feel
up.
good. That's a solid list. I mean, you could have rounded it out a little better, but
I don't know. I think the Friar is gonna give me a lot of love.
no.
I was doing that for the people.
Kevin from The Office for your number 5 pick. No,
I was doing that for the people.
that was weak. All right, that's all I got. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Just life has just come down to a crawl at this point. I feel like we haven't talked for like a month. You know?
It's been a minute, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah. Just a screeching halt.
We're all in this together.
Yeah. Cue that jam. Is that High School Musical? Let's get it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice recall there, friend.
Yeah. We'll see you guys soon, I guess. Wish me luck on all things boring right now. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't even know what to think about baseball, what to watch, what to read.
Dude doesn't even open up his work computer anymore. He just gets out
barely.
of bed.
Barely. Yeah. So here's what it is. Well, you know the drill. Even when it's slow, don't go chasing curveballs.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.